Good evening, Twitch, and hello, anyone watching us on YouTube. This is your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. Sports Talk, episode 6, talking about week 6 heading into week 7 of the NFL, and I am joined by Mutant Gingy.
Gingy in the house. What up? What up?
Oh, just they are who we thought they were. That's what's up.
The Brownies. They brownied it up all over the place last weekend.
Woohoo! Boy, did they. They look like Daniel Jones with a wide open end zone in front of him, baby. Can't even stay on their feet.
There was nothing wide open going on for them during that game.
I don't know what you're talking about. Baker Mayfield's ribs were wide open the whole game, dude. They just kept getting hit.
Yeah. He definitely is going to need an ice bath after that one.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Cam Hayward rearranged him.
Oh, he got him good. Couple fun things in the NFL. What do you think of Ngakoue getting traded from the Vikings over to Baltimore?
Irrelevant.
I don't know, dude. 6 sacks already on the year. I don't think that's too irrelevant. That dude's... I ain't looking forward to facing him. That's just more pass rush to that team is really... I mean,
we don't... Yes, we don't want to overlook our week that we have in front of us, though, with, I think, our biggest game so far this year. I know we have the Ravens looming.
That's just a big move that affects the AFC North. That's a scary thing to see. Ooh, there's an invisible guy on top of me. I am absolutely toast. How about your one of the highest paid quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins, showing another great game out there for Minnesota, man. He just... Yeah.
Kirk who?
I bet he's not out there yelling, "You like that?" right now. He's like, "You didn't watch that, right?"
No, I don't know what you're talking about. Kirk who? Like, that also irrelevant, that team.
The fun thing I like to look at is the whole big debate, is it Brady, is it Belichick thing. I mean, let's say we're 7 weeks in and it's looking like maybe Brady was the better of the two pieces there. I mean, Belichick has an MVP quarterback and he's what, 2-4 after losing to Denver?
If you look at the records of the two football teams right now, you're going to see what it was all about, I think.
And
I don't know, though. I mean, Tampa Bay had some pieces in place prior to Brady coming in there with defense, etc. So, kudos to them, though.
For real. How about another interesting move that Steeler fans know a little too well about? Antonio Brown coming back into the league, going to be joining that man, Tom Brady. Wow, these kids are good.
What?
Yeah, Antonio Brown signed with the Buccaneers on a 1-year deal.
I mean, that's a good type of... wow, lag. What kind of team? That is going to be an absurd team down there. I mean, that's scary. I don't know if he's in football shape or what, but you can say whatever you want about him off the field. He's typically produced whenever he plays.
That's true. If he is the Antonio Brown, or even, let's just say, 3/4 of the Antonio Brown we know, they just picked up one hell of a third receiver to add to Evans and Godwin. Or what is it? Something like that? Yeah,
yep.
Chris Godwin, right?
Yep, Godwin. Yep.
I mean, that could be a great pickup. Anything you saw last week that you found interesting?
Just looking, I was watching that game closely, that close division game between the Titans and the Texans last week. Really wanted to see what we were going to match up against, and what you saw was a big healthy dose of Derrick Henry. What was it, 22 for 212 and 2 touchdowns last week? Lots of twos for him, but he did the two-step right into the end zone.
Dude's an absolute stud. And I mean, that is a scary man to have to face coming up. But that Titans team, I tell you what, they're coached well, they play well, and they just do what they have to do to win football games. It isn't always pretty, but it's always a win.
And I'll be looking forward to talking about them more when we get to our looking ahead at next week.
For sure. So, let's look into the Brownies. Seriously, they are
Here
who we
we
thought
go.
they were.
AFC North football, hard-hitting defense. Baker Mayfield getting roughed up. I think there's, 4 sacks, 7 QB hits, at least, something like that.
Yeah, he was feeling it.
We got physical with him, and as you could tell in the third quarter, he had enough. In the third quarter, he had enough.
A good decision there. You can't leave your quarterback out there to get beat up when he's already hurt in a game that was lost. At least they're making what seems like smarter coaching decisions this year. New regime down there. Who knows? Maybe they'll be a decent team. But last week, woo! You saw what happens when they face good teams. It happened when they face Baltimore. It's happening when they face Pittsburgh.
Yeah, 30, 38, and 37 points put up on them respectively. The defense can't hang, and you put that running Cleveland Browns football team into a position where they have to throw the ball more often, and you really put it on the shoulders of Baker Mayfield, and you see what you get. I mean, I'm fairly certain I made a call last week in which we were going to talk about Baker Mayfield throwing the ball over the middle.
You mean crystal ball Gingy calls? That's what we should just call them now. Behind us. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
We need to see Minka pick 6, first drive.
Oh, we
need to
saw
see
him,
Baker
baby.
make a little move, get a late throw, and throw it high. There it is, Cam Sutton on the pick. I mean, tell me about it, crystal ball Gingy. Let's go.
I mean, that's Baker being Baker. He trashed that right up, just like we thought he was gonna. And it led to some really advantageous and easy Steelers points. Again, going up early on that Browns team puts them into a position to play the type of football that they don't want to play. And they were in the worst spot that they could be in at the end of the first half, down 24-7.
True. Let's be honest. I felt like the Browns are going to be a little better next time because, let's be honest, I feel their best offensive player is Nick Chubb. And he just wasn't there. He was hurt. I think that's a little different with Nick Chubb. I don't think it really changes the game much, but it definitely changes the game.
We'll see. I can't. We don't face them again till when? I'm not sure when that is in the schedule. I know
long time from now.
it's December. Yeah. So that'll be a different time for football. Then we'll see what the teams look like, what the records look like. You know, there was a lot of hype into that one because there are 2 4-win football teams on the field in Week 6.
Right.
But I think you saw what caliber of 4-win football teams those were when they got onto the field. You know, not all 4-win teams are created equal, I'd say.
For sure.
But I saw there, diving into that game a little bit more. I saw some things. Come on, opening drive.
23
really
straight
good.
without a TD. That's
It
what I
was
have to say
looking
about
so good, though. I was encouraged for a fast start. There was a big 3rd and 5 on that first drive where James Washington caught one from Ben Roethlisberger on the sideline for 20. You know, we were establishing James Conner. 4 carries, 28 yards in the first drive. You know, he was starting to come through, and you end up with a field goal, starting off 3-0. But hello, quickly became 10-0. Minka to the house.
For sure. That was great to see.
Go.
We saw all of last year's just Minka's influence on a football game showing up first time this year, to be honest. And it was nice to see. That was good, but I mean, I will give the opening drive offense this. There's 2 field goals, I think, in the last 2 games, but still, no touchdowns in 23 games. This is getting to be a little bit on the terrible side. And let's just be honest, that whole first quarter offense was just bad. Even that first drive, honestly, if the Browns are a good team, they have an interception on the first pass Ben makes on a terrible slant that he threw right into the defender. And he did it again in the first quarter. Like, that first quarter, thank God they're the Browns, because that could have easily been 14-7 the other way.
Yeah, you gotta count your blessings there. You know, something you did say last week in terms of Ben about throwing the long ball. I did see a nice long ball to Claypool following up.
That was
a couple of the
beautiful.
Oh yeah, to set up Connor for his first touchdown of the game, and I really liked what I had to see there. There was a couple throws that looked real good, including one that went it was offensive pass interference.
Ebron for the first down on like third
Yes.
and 14. Yeah.
Third and yes, I saw another good ball tightly thrown in there by Ben, and I really like to see.
Yep. Hitting the wide open James Washington in stride was nice. Seeing Washington make those double moves and get open down the field like he did in Oklahoma State forever, that was nice to see. This is just another pet peeve for me because I like to get the bad things out before I talk about the good, because obviously that 38-point win is just a good game. But again, Juju was getting one-on-one matchups and Juju wasn't winning them. Juju needs to win one-on-one matchups when he gets them, and he's just not doing that right now.
Yeah, it's really fortunate that the Steelers have a lot of resources on offense to spread the ball around too. We talked about James Washington there. Really love to see that classic Ben Roethlisberger with that huge pump you out of your shoes pump fake that he had there.
Yeah.
On that double move that you were referring to. Really liked seeing that. But yeah, I agree with you, Donkey. There's gonna have to be some separation if you're gonna, show him as the Steelers #1.
Other things I saw, Bud Dupree definitely needs to get signed. No, I do not want to see this team without Bud Dupree. That dude is a havoc maker in the backfield.
He's having a contract here, man. He's looking to close it out, and he's looking real good at it.
That dude is an absolute stud. I said I needed to see Ben make some good deep throws. I saw them last week. That's what I wanted to see. I'd like to see a little more crispness on the short throws. James Conner just tearing it up. And I'm going to be honest with you here. I know DeCastro's the boy. Everybody loves DeCastro. But that running game looks better with Kevin Dotson in there. Early season, right now, it looks better with Kevin Dotson in there.
Still runs a heck of a pool.
He does. I'm not saying DeCastro's bad by any means, but I'm saying Kevin Dotson looks like we might have found something in the 4th round. That kid's big. That kid can push. That kid actually had a nice little pole out there. I was impressed by him.
Yeah, I agree. I saw that. That's what I was referring to, really.
Oh, okay.
That all goes along with that next man up mentality on that Steelers, on that Mike Tomlin coach Steelers football team.
For sure. I mean, I don't know, but that offense looks... That's the kind of offense we were talking about when we had the triplets, dude. It's finally showing up back-to-back weeks, 30 points. And there were 30-point games where you're like, man, it just didn't feel like... It felt like we left it out there, It felt like there was still growth.
I think that I saw a pretty complete football game. I know you talked about some mistakes in the first quarter and a slow start, but overall they were performing on both ends of the ball, and it really showed what happens when that Steelers offense can really start clicking. What happens when that combines with a #1 sack leading defense in the league? It's lights out.
And let's give some huge props to Chase Claypool. I mean, the dude, superstar written all over him. That touchdown he had where even with the DB, 3 steps later has 3-step separation. That kind of closing speed is amazing.
Steelers again drafting gems in the 2nd round, wide receivers. So nothing new there, eh?
Really hard, eh? Yeah, for real. I mean, all those drafted receivers, and every time they've all had episodes where they've all looked like superstars. Every single one of them. Johnson, Washington, Juju, Claypool. Name them, they've all had breakout game performances.
Take your pick. Pick your poison on that Steelers offense.
That's for darn sure. Let's get over to the defensive side of the ball. Pretty darn good game. Terrible loss. Let's be honest. The Devin Bush thing is what is going to be talked about here.
Major terrible loss in the middle of that defense. I mean, I know, again, we'll talk about next man up with Spillane coming in and putting together a pretty good performance in the day in a tight situation, but come on, moving forward long term, that's going to hurt.
It definitely is. There definitely has to be some combination of Spillane with either Marcus Allen or Ulysses Gilbert to make up for what is lost. with Devin Bush there. I mean, Devin Bush can do it all. None of those guys can do it all at this point, but maybe a combination of them can effectively fill the void.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I am not certain about any of that at this point. We'll have, do you think the Steelers are gonna? Did they sign somebody?
They signed someone to the practice squad. Jesus, that kid's just sniping the hell out of me in this game.
Yeah.
I feel like the Browns over here, dude. We were in it, and then I just got run like 7 straight times because they just run all 4 together.
Yep.
Come on, man. There's a teammate when you need
defense. Defense. Another 4 sacks. This game bringing up. What's the total? 28.
24. 24.
24 for the season. And that's, you know, still number 1 in the league with their bye already out of the way.
Yep.
So we might see some big separation in those numbers, and I think that really is what makes it go round again. I don't know, how do you think the secondary did?
They were pretty solid. I mean, you shut down that receiving core for 3/4 of the game the way they did. You can't complain. I mean, that was great showing. A ticky-tack illegal contact, which was illegal contact on Hilton, or was it? Not Hilton. Who did it? Hayden took away an interception by Hayden, ironically. But, I mean, they played really, really well out there. There's one breakdown that gave up the touchdown, but can't complain about one mistake in a game. A game played like that, I mean, everyone was firing. Everyone was up there. Mike Hilton, again, missed a wide-open tackle and running back in the hole. That's unfortunate. Not what he normally does, but he's going to have a few weeks off to fix it since he's out with a shoulder. But that secondary looks...
yeah, that... Whew. Yeah, that might still affect the blitz packages that the Steelers are able to show, you know, coming up next week.
Right. That will.
But no.
Just got to bring someone else
holding them to 7 points. Holding them to 7 points overall, and you know, pretty much ruining OBJ's weekend. Really throwing off his center of his chakra there, and he looked like he needed some realignment emotionally after that game.
There's the turning point in the game to me. I want to get your take on it. End of the first half, we have that terrible 3-and-out. Give them the ball in great position right after they scored a touchdown. Defense comes up huge, makes a stop there. We go second half, you know, Browns still kind of had the momentum. Defense again forces a 3-and-out. Back-to-back 3-and-outs to end and start the half to me is where that game just went from maybe the Browns get back in it to game over.
Yeah, no chance, exactly.
And that was just great to see the defense step up. And I've said this before, I feel like we just don't finish teams. And to see us finish a team early, awesome. I loved it.
Finally, a game without, you know, cardiac problems associated with it.
Thank God for the Brownies, right?
Yeah, thank God.
There was another thing I saw that just to me was, what's the difference between Pittsburgh and Cleveland? So, it's 4th and 1. The Steelers make the stop. We get the sideline cam of both teams. I don't know what Odell Beckham Jr. was doing, but when they show the Browns, you see Odell Beckham just prancing down the sideline like yada, 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 yada. They flip it over to the Steelers. Everyone with a serious face. Everyone looking like they're out there to do business. Everyone looking at the tape to see what they could do better. I mean, to me, that was just the difference in the teams is you got this Browns team that's just, yay, we're 4-1. We're so happy we're living on sunshine. You got the 4-0 Steelers going, this is business. We're not here for anything other than to win a football game.
Professionalism. That's why it's one of my favorite teams, Donkey. Here we go.
Professional.
All wrapped up in 5-0.
We were this Divas Browns team 3 years ago. I hate to say it, but with Antonio Brown, with Le'Veon Bell, we were exactly what that Cleveland team is. A team that's never going to live up to their potential because they just aren't willing to give it all. And that's hard for me to say because if you watch Antonio Brown on the football field, you could never say that guy never gave it all. But it just, that kind of attitude and that kind of thing takes away from the team, I feel like. You don't see great teams having those type of attitudes.
I'd say you gotta watch your mouth a little bit there on that, comparing them Steelers and them Browns. That's blasphemy.
Think about
Blasphemy.
it
No,
though. They have a bunch of
I see your
divas,
point.
underperforming
I
divas.
see your point.
We had underperforming divas. I mean, I'm not saying they're the Steelers, but I'm saying think of all those teams that all we ever talked about was, man, we have the team. Why can't we do it? Why can't we do it? At some point, do we just say diva players are a problem?
Team chemistry is a huge part of it, Donkey. I mean, I definitely know that, but still, I mean, got to give credit where credit is due. Antonio Brown's numbers seriously put Odell Beckham's to shame on a regular basis.
Well, yeah, you're talking top 2 receiver in the league versus a top 15 receiver in the league for sure.
Yup.
How'd you lose that fight with a shotgun up close, kid? Ooh, that's terrible. Some other fun numbers coming out of that game. First team to average 3 sacks and an interception, or have 3 sacks and an interception in every one of their games to start the season, since the '85 Giants. Very nice.
Number three pass defense in the NFL. Number 1 run defense in the NFL. Number 1 in sacks. It's a trifecta.
Terrible. I should have killed him. Yeah, and then let's look into this week's matchup. Let's start with the fact everyone wants to talk about. Anytime teams undefeated meet each other this late into the season, that's week 7 or later, the winner goes to the Super Bowl. Last 4 times it's happened.
Yep, and I wouldn't doubt it if it would continue true this year as well.
Both these teams are very, very solid. I mean, we've talked about the Steelers' passing game starting to click. Running game's looking really good. James Conner out there is showing why he's the feature back. He's got that mix of power and speed, a little bit of elusiveness with that spin move, and just a lot better vision than any of our other running backs right now is what separates him from me.
100-yard games in his 3 out of his last 4. I tend to agree with you there. Just gotta start him early, keep him consistent like we did last week, and I'm sure that he'll continue to average this 4.7 per carry. Real useful.
I'm really hoping for a big game out of Ben. I hope he keeps the ball away from his Jarius Byrd out there, their tight or their safety. That's just an absolute world beater.
Well, that's what we're going to really have to look to do in this game. When we're looking at the Tennessee Titans, we're seeing a really balanced, run attack with a pretty good passing attack from Tannehill this year. His numbers
stellar,
almost mirror, if not slightly better than Ben Roethlisberger's overall.
His numbers this year are just stellar.
So, I mean, that's where we're going to be looking at with the Titans. You're going to have to try to hold them to 30 points or less in order to be able to, keep up.
How did they win that game last week? The Texans absolutely had them on the ropes late in the game, and then just Derrick Henry? Like, for real?
Had them where you want them, and let them off the hook.
Well, apparently they didn't have them where they wanted them at all. You don't want that team to touch the football. I mean, Tannehill's out there, completing 70% of his passes. I think he's only been sacked, 4 or 5 times this whole year?
He's been sacked 4 times so far this year. The line's given up 4 sacks all year.
That's got to get to him. Got to get to him. Got to force him to make a turnover. I think he's only turned the ball over 2 or 3 times. I know it's 2 interceptions. He might have lost a fumble. But you got to get to him. He gets away from Adam Gase, and the dude becomes a difference maker. Never would have thought that.
That's the recipe.
And I guess you can get to Tennessee on their defense. That's where the Steelers have got to make up ground. They have some playmakers on there. That's what I was going to say. Bird's a good guy on the back end. Jadeveon Clowney isn't putting up sack numbers, but he didn't do it in Houston either. But that dude was just always in the backfield in Houston. He's the type of guy that disrupts plays. Maybe doesn't fill up the stat sheet quite the way you would think with being, the 1st or 2nd overall pick, but skill set's definitely there.
Yeah, that's where the Steelers are going to make up ground this week, Donkeys, against that Tennessee defense. They're vulnerable. You saw them get kind of torched last week by Deshaun Watson. I think there's room to pick at that there.
And then we gotta point out that clearly Danny Smith listens to our show, because I tell him the special teams needs to step it up. He steps it up. I tell him, man, Colquitt makes me wish for Jordan Berry. He brings in Jordan Berry, and I'm like, bro, that's not at all what I meant. Not what I meant, but kudos. I do think it's an upgrade.
Be careful what you wish for.
To be honest, I'd rather have Jordan Berry. Colquitt drives me insane. I think we have punted this time from inside the opponent's territory 5 times and never once down the ball inside the 10. That is unacceptable to me. It has to be at least 60% convert there, inside the 10. I mean, we have Colquitt punting the ball from the opponent's 45 and landing it only at the 18-yard line for a fair catch, or punting it into the end zone. I'm going to be honest, sure, he held the ball decently last game, but the Boswell miss on an extra point was because Colquitt couldn't hold the ball. And Colquitt just can't punt the ball inside the 20. He's just... Someone warned me once, always be weary of long-time special teams players who get released from a team. There's a reason their long-time team doesn't want them, right? And Colquitt was the show of that. He was just a super underperforming punter, one of the worst 3 punters in the league, I believe, statistically this year.
And, yep, he's gone now. Like you said, must be listening in. We heard the call for Jordan Berry, and it has been answered.
That it has, and I'm not overly upset about it. I would have preferred someone else, maybe with a little more upside than Berry, but Berry's at least gotten better every year. Wow, how did he shoot in melee before I could shoot in melee? That's my bad. And another thing I want to get into is why do we keep paying fullbacks? All they ever do is spend time on IR. Like, when was the last time we had a fullback healthy for 10 games?
That's a good question.
Rosie was hurt all the time.
Stat check on that.
Derek Watts hurt all the time. Like, at this point, let's just sign another special teams ace who's a linebacker, because they don't seem to get broken as often for us. And let's let Tyson Alualu play fullback or something. I don't know. Other teams put big-ass defensive tackles in at fullback, and it's fun to watch. And, I mean... At least he'll be healthy, right? I am sick of having the highest paid guy at a position just to never watch him play football.
I do not want to see Titan Alualu play fullback, Donkey. I'm sorry.
I want to see him wreck someone right in the hole, bro.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to see that, but he's such a valuable piece of the defense right now that I would hate to put him in jeopardy.
Yeah, he is definitely a stud, but yeah. All right, what's the key matchup for you this weekend, Gingy?
Key matchup: Steelers front 7 versus Derrick Henry. I mean, that's the bottom line. You're gonna have to try to keep him to under 100 yards. I mean, he's gonna do damage. Look at the guy. He looks like Leonidas from 300, man. Like he's about ready to charge into you and yell, "This is Sparta."
That's because this is Sparta for him. He's gonna stiff arm you down the hole of death, bro.
Yeah, I hope that Cam Sutton and Joe Hayden, take note from what they saw earlier from Josh Norman and don't put themselves in that position.
Bro, did you watch all of our DBs miss tackles last week because they're doing the goddamn shoulder throw and none of them want to wrap up? Like, are we teaching our DBs not to wrap up? Because, my God, this is 3 weeks in a row. They're all just throwing shoulders and getting embarrassed. And I'm just sitting here like, please, just wrap up and tackle. Just one of you wrap up and tackle. Because
that's not happening.
I can't take it. I cannot take that anymore. That's insane.
But yeah, that's what I'm going to be looking at exclusively. Donkey, what are you looking at?
I think it's the matchups on the outside and down the middle. I mean, Devin Bush isn't going to be there to cover in the tight ends, and I believe it's Jonnu Smith, their tight end, or maybe he's a receiver. But they have Jonnu Smith and A.J. Brown as their deep play threats. I think it's stopping them. Derrick Henry's going to feast. You're not going to stop Derrick Henry. You can contain Derrick Henry. I think it's stopping the secondary pieces. It's stopping A.J. Brown. It's stopping Jonnu Smith. Those are the two you have to stop, in my opinion. I don't think you can stop Derrick Henry. You can only just hope to contain him. It's like when LaDainian Tomlinson was in his prime. You give him his 2 touchdowns, you just don't let anyone else get any.
I like I like the call. Last I looked, Donkey, I think the Steelers were 2.5-point favorite headed into Tennessee this week.
Yeah, I don't know how you give anyone a favorite in this. It should be whoever the home team is. Both these teams are good. Both these teams have shown stuff. Both these teams have stuff to prove.
Yeah, I think that shows what the lack of home field advantage is really counting for in terms of odds makers so far this year.
They don't care about
There's
home
no way
field
that
when there's no crowd, huh?
Yeah, I mean, to put the Steelers as a 2.5 favorite, I would say so in that one. But I'm looking at the Steelers final score 27-24. I think it's going to be a close game, and I think we're going to be deciding it on the foot of Boz.
I have the same premonition about how this game ends. I have a little different score. I think it's 35-33, Boswell with a 52-yarder to win it.
Whoa. So you're putting them at like 60, 68 over under. That's
Sure,
that's a high number. That will be.
I just don't. I don't see how you stop a team like this, and I think the Steelers get a little too carried away into the we have to shove the box and stop Henry, and I think A.J. Brown gets too many one-on-ones, to be quite honest with you. That's why I think those are the ones you have to stop for the secondary players, but I don't think that's the mindset we go into. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's a blowout. This just feels like a close game to me.
We shall see. I'm excited.
Terrible play by one of the 2 quarterbacks.
It's going to be a huge weekend, and it's going to have huge implications in terms of that seeding when we're looking ahead at the AFC playoff picture.
Only one bye.
Lock in, Donkey. Sing all your songs. Get the polka blasting. Get yourself something good on the grill, Donkey. Get your towel waving in the counterclockwise direction. The
3-year-old is ready to wave his towel. Mike is a little shy about waving it now, but Jordy is all about it. He asked if he could have his towel today because there was college football on, and he wanted to get it going, dude. He's ready for some Steeler football.
Let's go. And so am I. 2 5-0 football teams should be a blast to watch. Can't wait.
All right, Gigi, any shout-outs for this week?
Oh, we are looking at my boy Binky, about ready to get on and play some Halo. Here we go. Having another Saturday, having another laugh, having another time. Shout out to Binky.
Oh my, grenades everywhere. Again, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Feel free to leave us questions. We would love to talk about whatever's on your mind and give you our scoop, our throw, our opinions. Hit us up, comments on the YouTube or comments on the socials. Feel free to reach out to us any way you want to. Thank you for tuning in. I don't really have a shout out this week other than shout out to the Steelers going 5-0, baby. That's what I like to see. Yeah. Till next time. Same bad place, same bad channel next week, I hope.
Mutant Gingy, Xbox Live, hit 'em up. Here we go, Steelers.